It's called Broda, B-R-O-D-A. It's a beef roast done in the German tradition, in the old German tradition.
Every year, the American Historical Society of Germans from Russia hosts their annual Broda Dinner. What's a Broda Dinner, you ask? To find out, we spoke with Don Burbach and Larry Schenkel, two of the many people who prepare, set up, and host the Broda Dinner.
Well, a Broda Dinner is the traditional German method of cooking roast beef.
Broada Dinner was a traditional German Sunday dinner. And what it stems from is the people get ready to go to church. Mom takes the roast, puts it in the pot, peels the potatoes, puts them in the pot, puts the onions in the pot, puts the carrots in the pot, puts the whole thing in the oven. Dinner's done when you come home. And that's the tradition. It's a traditional Sunday dinner.
A broda is a dinner you can cook at home with your family, but it can also be used for gathering people together. The society uses the dinner for a fundraiser. But what else has the Broda Dinner been used for?
And it was always used at weddings. It was always used at most major gatherings of the Germans from Russia.
So you have Broda, which is a method of cooking roast beef, and Broda, which is a traditional Germans from Russia dinner, and Broda, which is a traditional German from Russia gathering. Let's find out how to prepare and host your own dinner. First, here's what you need.
Basically, we get huge chuck roasts and cut them up into serving-sized pieces. We have, I think, 175 pounds of roast, about 100 pounds of potatoes, 50 pounds of carrots, onions, green beans, coleslaw, dill pickles, rye bread. It's all traditional German foods.
Don't worry, for a family dinner you can use smaller portions. But you need roast beef, potatoes, carrots, onions, green beans, coleslaw, pickles, and rye bread. The gentleman then told us how to prepare the meal.
Well, the way the roast is cooked is it's a typical German method that I was taught from the time I was a child on. What we do is we fill the roasters full of meat, and then we cook the trimmings from the meat, the fat and even some little portions of the meat. We cook that in water with all the necessary seasoning, and then we pour that over the meat that's in the roaster. And we do the same procedure with potatoes.
Of course, one would not reveal the secret spices.
Well, there's a secret spice that I won't even tell you guys what it is.
So we went to Don.
Salt, pepper, a little garlic, and bay leaf. And a little flour kind of thickens the juice that's on there, see?
They make it look easy, and it is. You take your roast beef, cut it up into pieces, put a few of the pieces in a pot with water and spices, then put the rest in a pot. Add potatoes, carrots, and onions, then add spices of salt, pepper, garlic, bay leaves, and flour. Put the pot in the oven and cook it. When it's done, serve the meal with green beans, coleslaw, and rye bread. Now Don's going to give us a great tip on which kind of rye bread to use.
It was always the homemade German rye bread. And the Germans always made the light rye, not the dark rye as some people like and some countries make.
Don goes on to give us more tips on preparing the meal.
When we take the trimmings and boil that with water, the reason for that is to create the moisture to be able to keep the potatoes from being dried out in the oven. I told him not to cut them so small because they'll cook into mush if you get them too small. Leave them a little larger and then they'll cook nice, and when you serve them they'll be a nice sized potato to serve. Yeah, the meat that we put on top of the potatoes during the cooking time, that meat will kind of cook and fat will melt and so on, and it'll join in with the juices on the potatoes and add additional flavor. Well, we give it an initial seasoning which we think is enough from experience. And then as it's cooking, we taste it. And if it isn't got enough seasoning, we add some. About halfway through the cooking process. The idea of using your hand, some people can gauge better, or they'll pour what they feel is a correct amount in their dry end, not wet, because obviously the salt would stick or the flour would stick. And then you just sprinkle that so that it's even on the potatoes or on the meat. I don't
Are
care.
your hands dry?
No,
Mine
they're
are
wet.
not. Mine is blank. Enough?
One more. There you go, that's enough. Now give it. Usually we don't have to do anything to the meat. It'll be seasoned good enough. It's the potatoes that generally will carry more of the salt or pepper or whatever flavor. But the meat usually is pretty self-supporting. Put a little garlic on it, a little salt and pepper, and it just does its own thing. You can always under-season, because then we can put salt and pepper on the table and they can add their own.
And they also served up wonderful desserts. Is this a real piece of German from Russia chocolate cake?
Sure is. So is the dinner. It's very good.
One other question we asked Don was how long he had been doing the Broda dinner.
I had became involved with a lady by the name of Esther Sturz, and she and I cooked for my own wedding. I remember cooking most of the day prior to getting ready to go to church to get married on my own wedding day. And it was in this building, and it was exactly the same dinner as what is being served here this evening. And that was 41 years ago.
The Broada dinner brought us together, and that's what it was supposed to do on Sundays, bring the family together. And it was always a time when there were prayers of thanksgiving and good fellowship, and I guess a good German word for it is Gemütlichkeit, which is fellowship, happiness, and a whole lot of things thrown together.
So you can create your own Gemütlichkeit. Host a dinner for your own family and friends. Try Broda at your next birthday party, holiday dinner, or as the Germans from Russia did, have it for a Sunday dinner.